In recent years, life inside Iran has become more difficult. The country's economy has struggled, with rising inflation and job losses hitting families hard. Many ordinary Iranians have found it hard to afford basic goods, such as food and fuel. This economic hardship has laid the groundwork for widespread anger and frustration. Protests erupted across Iran as people demanded better living conditions and more freedom. These demonstrations were met with force from the government. Security forces used tear gas, rubber bullets, and even live ammunition to break up crowds. Many people were arrested, and some lost their lives standing up for change. The government also tried to control information. They shut down the internet and blocked social media sites so that news of protests could not spread. This only made people angrier, as they felt their voices were being silenced. The situation grew more tense with each passing day. This internal turmoil has left Iran's leaders feeling threatened. As trust between the people and the government erodes, the regime looks for ways to show its strength, both at home and abroad. This instability sets the stage for Iran's recent threats against the United States and its allies. Iran's problems do not stop at its borders. The country has a difficult history with the United States and Israel. In the past, all three have accused each other of aggressive actions and plotting against one another's interests. This distrust has grown even deeper in recent months. The United States and Israel are worried about Iran's influence in the region. Both countries accuse Iran of supporting groups that cause trouble, such as Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. These groups often fight against Israel and threaten American interests in the Middle East. Recent attacks and threats have made matters worse. Iran has warned that if its interests are attacked, it will strike back, possibly even targeting United States military bases or allied countries. These statements have raised fears of a bigger conflict that could involve many nations. Both the United States and Israel have increased their military presence in the region. They have sent more ships, planes, and troops to show they are ready for any challenge. Every new move on one side seems to provoke a response from the other, making the situation even more dangerous. One of the main reasons for international concern is Iran's nuclear program. For many years, Iran has insisted that its nuclear work is only for peaceful purposes. However, many countries are not convinced. They worry that Iran could soon build a nuclear bomb if it chooses to do so. Iran has also created strong ties with armed groups outside its borders. These groups, known as proxies, receive weapons, money, and training from Iran. The most well-known are Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. Both have fought wars against Israel and have a history of attacking United States interests. Iran's support for these groups allows it to project power across the Middle East without fighting directly. It gives Tehran a way to put pressure on its enemies and respond to attacks against its own interests. This strategy has made the region more unstable and has increased fears of a larger war. The combination of Iran's nuclear ambitions and its use of proxies is a major challenge for the United States and its allies. They must find a way to stop Iran from building a bomb while also dealing with the threat from groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. The United States has changed its policies toward Iran several times in recent years. Under President Trump, the United States withdrew from the 2015 nuclear agreement, saying that Iran was not following the rules. This move surprised many allies, who wanted to keep the deal in place. After leaving the deal, the United States put tough economic sanctions back on Iran. These sanctions targeted Iran's oil industry, banks, and many other parts of its economy. The goal was to pressure Iran to stop its nuclear work and change its behavior in the region. The United States also showed it was willing to use military force if necessary. Alongside Israel, America launched strikes against Iranian targets when it believed Iran was breaking agreements. These actions were meant to send a message that the United States would not tolerate further threats. These changes in United States policy have made relations even more tense. Iran has answered back with threats against American troops and allies. Each new action seems to push both sides closer to a direct confrontation. The conflict between Iran and its adversaries has not just been about words. In the past year, there have been real military clashes. The United States and Israel have carried out airstrikes against Iranian nuclear sites and military bases. They say these attacks are necessary to stop Iran's dangerous activities. Iran has not stayed silent. It has fired missiles at United States bases in Iraq and threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway for global oil shipments. Sometimes, groups supported by Iran have launched rockets into Israel or attacked American targets in the region. Each attack leads to a response, creating a cycle of retaliation. As violence continues, the risk of a wider war grows. Civilians living in the region fear being caught in the crossfire. International leaders worry that one mistake could set off a much larger conflict. Both sides are now on high alert. The use of drones, missiles, and cyber attacks has become more common. With every new strike, hopes for calm seem to fade a little more. Events in Iran and the region have sparked strong reactions around the world. Protests have taken place in major cities, with people demanding an end to violence and respect for human rights. Images of Iranian citizens facing crackdowns have drawn sympathy and anger. Governments, especially in Europe, have joined the United States in imposing new sanctions on Iran. These measures make it harder for Iran to trade and access money from abroad. The goal is to pressure Iran to negotiate and change its policies. Sanctions have hurt Iran's economy but have not yet forced the government to change course. Instead, the regime has used the outside pressure to rally supporters and blame foreign enemies for its problems at home. International organizations have called for restraint. They urge all sides to come back to the negotiating table. But as long as violence and threats continue, finding a peaceful solution remains difficult. Despite all the threats and fighting, talks between Iran, the United States, and other countries continue behind the scenes. Diplomats meet in secret and in public, hoping to find a way out of the crisis. However, progress has been slow and trust is in short supply. Military drills and warnings have kept the region tense. Neighboring countries like Iraq and Saudi Arabia worry about being dragged into a larger war. Even countries farther away, such as those in Europe, fear the impact on global energy supplies and security. Both Iran and its adversaries insist they want peace, but neither side is willing to back down easily. The constant threat of new attacks keeps everyone on edge. Small incidents could quickly spiral out of control. The instability has already affected people across the Middle East. Refugees flee areas hit by violence, and businesses struggle to survive. The longer the crisis drags on, the higher the cost will be for everyone involved. The standoff between Iran, the United States, and Israel affects many other countries in the Middle East. Iraq, which hosts United States troops, has seen its own cities become battlegrounds for proxy fights. Syria and Lebanon, where Iranian-backed groups operate, are also drawn deeper into the conflict. Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states feel threatened by Iran's actions. They have increased their own military spending and called for stronger United States support. Turkey and Egypt watch the crisis closely, worried that a wider war could disrupt their economies and security. The fighting has driven up oil prices, making energy more expensive around the world. Shipping in the Persian Gulf has become riskier, which affects countries far beyond the Middle East. Every country with ties to the region now faces new challenges. International organizations continue to call for peace and urge all sides to avoid further violence. But as long as the crisis continues, the risk of new conflicts stays high. The future is uncertain. Iran's leaders say they are ready to strike United States and allied targets if attacked. The United States and Israel remain determined to prevent Iran from gaining nuclear weapons or expanding its influence. Both sides are preparing for the possibility of more fighting. Still, there is hope. Diplomats are working hard to find a peaceful solution, and some leaders have said they are open to new talks. Sanctions and international pressure may eventually push both sides to make compromises, but danger remains. One mistake or misunderstanding could quickly lead to a larger war. The lives of millions of people in the region depend on careful decisions and wise leadership. In the end, the world waits and watches. Everyone hopes for peace, but prepares for the chance that the conflict will grow even more serious in the days ahead.